Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast.
Today we are discussing Chapter 84, Zombie.
Zombie. And let me tell you, it is the perfect title. I thought Zoro was down. The man collapsed. A pillar fell on him. Arlong was ordering his body to be thrown in the sea. And then he just gets up. It's not just getting up. It's an act of pure defiance against reality itself.
He gets up, covered in rubble and his own blood, and immediately dismisses the enemy's ultimate technique. It's a statement. He's not just negating Hatchan's power, he's negating his own mortality for a moment.
Calls it nothing special, and then asks for more swords. Can we just sit with that for a second? He's barely able to hold his own sword, the Wado Ichimonji, but his solution to being at death's door is I need more sharp objects. If you want to make sure you're always here for moments like that, when a man literally redefines what it means to be alive, maybe pin our show to your feed. It's the podcast equivalent of borrowing your friend's swords when you're half dead. Now let's get into it.
The chapter picks up right where we left off. Luffy is at the bottom of the pool, a concrete block chained to his feet, and Arlong is just laughing.
That laugh is so infuriating. It's not a laugh of victory, it's a laugh of contempt. He's just standing there, monologuing about the weakness of humans, the inherent inferiority of their species, while the strongest human we've met so far is literally drowning 10 feet away because of a cheap trick. It's not even a testament to Arlong's strength. He didn't beat Luffy in a fight. He exploited a weakness. It's the coward's victory.
It's the core of his philosophy. He believes so deeply in the biological superiority of fishmen that any tactic is justified. In his mind, tricking a human is no different than setting a trap for a lesser animal. He feels no shame, only satisfaction that his worldview is being proven correct.
And the worst part is, from his perspective, he's right. His top officers are facing off against the rest of the Straw Hats, and Luffy, the captain, the big threat, is neutralized. He thinks he's already won. The arrogance is just pouring off the page.
And on the surface, the battle begins in earnest. Zoro tells Hatchan he'll finish him in 5 minutes.
Which is such a classic Zoro line. He's setting his own clock, putting himself under pressure, because that's when he shines. But you can already tell something's off. There's a desperation to it. It's not the cool confidence he had against the Nyaban brothers. This feels like he's trying to command his own body to obey, to last just 5 more minutes. When Hachi spits ink and Zoro dodges, he only manages to slice off some of Hachi's hair.
It's such a tiny, insignificant detail, but it speaks volumes. This is the man who carved a galleon into pieces at the Barati. He's shown incredible feats of cutting power, but he can't get a clean hit on an octopus man's afro? It felt clumsy for him. We've seen him cut ships in half. Cutting hair feels like a massive miscalculation.
It's the wound. That cut from Mihawk wasn't just physical. It was a wound to his pride, to his very concept of his own strength. And now the physical manifestation of that wound is betraying his skill. His hands know what to do, his mind knows the angle, but his core is screaming in agony, and his movements are falling short.
Exactly, and Sanji sees it immediately. He's the first one to notice how pale Zoro is looking, how much he's sweating. That connection between them, that rivalry, it means they know each other's fighting condition better than anyone. Sanji can tell just by the way Zoro is standing that he's on his last legs. It's a respect that they would never, ever admit out loud.
It's a deeper understanding than simple observation. Sanji knows Zoro's posture, his breathing, the minute shift in his center of gravity. He recognizes the signs of a body at its absolute limit because he's pushed his own body there countless times. This shared experience as elite fighters creates an unspoken language between them.
But that language, that moment of concern for his rival, leaves him open. It also means Sanji is distracted. Kuroobi, the Ray Fishman, uses that opening to attack him.
But this is Sanji we're talking about. He dodges effortlessly, legs straight in the air, a perfect picture of grace under pressure, and drops that perfect line: a fish shouldn't insult a cook. That's his entire character in one sentence. It's so brilliant. He's not a brawler. He's not a martial artist first and foremost. He is a chef. His entire identity is built around the galley. And to him, Kuroobi is not a warrior to be respected. He is a base ingredient that has gotten out of line. The sheer level of disrespect in that line is astronomical, and it's so cool.
It establishes the terms of the fight on his grounds. This isn't just a battle. For him, it's a professional offense. You have insulted his sacred space, the very concept of food and the art of cooking. To Sanji, that's a greater crime than simply throwing a punch. He's reframing the conflict to be about his personal code, not just survival.
Back at Zoro's fight, things are getting weird. Hachi claps his arms together to block Zoro's sword, and Zoro just cuts right through them. He's literally confused, like why would you even try that? He's so used to his blades meeting resistance, meeting skill, and Hachi's move is just dumb.
It appears dumb, but it's a trick. Hatchan's body gets sticky, like an octopus's suckers, and he uses the adhesion to jump onto a pillar, clinging to it. It wasn't a block, it was a maneuver.
He's wasting Zoro's time, and Zoro knows it. You can feel his frustration building in every panel. He's on a 5-minute timer that he set for himself. His body is about to give out. Luffy is drowning, and this octopus is just goofing around on a pillar like a kid at a playground. It's the worst kind of opponent for someone in his condition.
And then Hatchan points it out, twisting the knife. Zoro is only using one sword, his Wado Ichimonji. He hasn't even drawn the other two yet. Hatchan interprets this as disrespect, as Zoro not taking him seriously.
Which just makes it worse. The dramatic irony is killing me. We, the readers, know why. He physically can't hold 2 more swords and fight effectively. That gash from Mihawk is tearing him apart from the inside out. He's putting every ounce of his remaining strength into wielding one blade, and Hachi thinks he's not taking it seriously? The insult is just salt in a very, very real wound.
It's a fundamental misunderstanding of who Zoro is. To not use all 3 swords is for Zoro an admission of weakness he would never make lightly. It's a sign of his desperation, but his opponent sees it as arrogance. And while this is happening, the perspective shifts outside Arlong Park. Johnny and Yosaku are watching, and they correctly identify that Hatchan is just stalling.
My boys, they get it. They see the bigger picture. They see Zoro is in trouble and Luffy is out of commission. They want to jump in and save Luffy, but Genzo stops them. And he's right, they're too injured. They'd just get themselves killed. They're brave, but they're not monsters like the Straw Hats.
It's a painful moment of realism. Their spirit is willing, but their bodies are broken. Genzo, however, represents a different kind of strength. He's not a powerhouse fighter, but he has the conviction of a leader who has protected his town for years.
So Genzo says he'll go. The sheriff of the town, the man with the pinwheel on his hat, is going to sneak in and save Luffy himself.
What a legend! The pinwheel isn't just a silly hat accessory. We know it's for Nami, to make her smile. It's a symbol of his love for his adopted daughters. He is literally carrying his reason to fight on his head as he walks into the enemy's headquarters. That's super.
And Nojiko insists on coming with him. She points out that the Straw Hats are doing all of this for Nami. It's for her sister. She has to be there. She can't just stand by and watch others fight for her family's freedom.
I love this shift so much. Up until now, the village has been passive, resigned to their fate under Arlong. They pay him off, they endure, they survive. But now, seeing the Straw Hats fight and bleed for them, for Nami, something has broken. They're done waiting.
It's the first time we see the village actively joining the fight. They're not waiting to be saved anymore. They're becoming participants, inspired by the crew's suicidal bravery.
They're taking a page out of Luffy's book. If you see a friend in trouble, you jump in, no matter the odds.
That's the Straw Hat effect right there. It's going to be a theme. I can feel it. They don't just beat the bad guy. They ignite the people the bad guy was oppressing. They remind them that they have the strength to fight for themselves.
And then we cut back to Zoro, and the worst happens. He just collapses.
He's on his knees clutching the wound Mihawk gave him. The 5-minute timer is up, and his body just shut down. Sanji sees it. Johnny and Yosaku see it. The game is up. He's reached his limit. All that willpower, all that bravado, it's finally ran out of fuel.
Seizing the opportunity, Hatchan punches the pillar he's on, intending to crush Zoro with the falling debris. From a tactical standpoint, it's the correct move. His opponent is incapacitated. It's over.
But it's not. This moment is everything. This is why Zoro is who he is. As he's falling, as he's literally losing consciousness, as the screen is going black for him, he summons one last burst of strength, grabs Hachi by the face, and throws him into the path of the falling pillar.
He uses his opponent's own attack against him, even while completely spent. It's a move born of pure predatory instinct. There's no thought behind it. It's the swordsman's spirit acting on its own.
It's pure instinct and willpower. His body has given up, his mind is offline, but his spirit just refuses to lose. It's like a cornered wolf lashing out one last time. He protects himself even when he can't stand. Then he collapses for real this time, buried under the rubble.
It's a testament to the severity of that wound from Mihawk. It wasn't just a cut, it was a statement, a brand. Mihawk left a piece of his power in that scar, and Zoro is still feeling every inch of it. This fight isn't Zoro versus Hatchan, it's Zoro versus the ghost of Dracula Mihawk.
And Sanji's watching this whole thing in horror. He's watching his rival, the guy he can't stand but secretly respects more than anyone, go down. He sees his crew's main powerhouse get taken out. And that momentary distraction, that flicker of genuine concern, is all it takes.
Kuroobi lands a devastating punch. It sends Sanji flying, crashing straight through the wall of the Arlong Park building.
The impact on that looks brutal. It's not just a punch, it's a shockwave. You can see the force ripple through the air. Oda is incredible at showing the sheer power of the fishmen. Sanji isn't just sent flying, he's launched like a cannonball.
And Kuroobi gives us a new piece of information, a fascinating bit of world building. He announces that he is a level 40 practitioner of fishman karate.
Level 40? What does that even mean? Is that like a video game? Are there levels to this stuff? Is it like a Dan system in real-world martial arts? My mind is racing with the possibilities. It's the first time we've had a hard number attached to a fighting style.
It seems so. It's the first time a fighting style has been quantified like this. It implies there's a system, a ranking, a formal structure to their martial arts. It makes their culture feel more ancient and established, and it immediately makes you wonder, what level is Arlong? Is there a level 100 Grandmaster out there somewhere?
Right? It adds a whole new layer to their power structure. It's not just raw strength, which we know they have in spades. It's technique and mastery. Kuroobi isn't just strong, he's a highly trained, decorated martial artist, which makes Sanji's later comeback even more impressive.
Sanji lands outside, right behind Genzo and Nojiko, who are about to sneak in. They just see him get blown out of the side of the building like a rag doll. Imagine their perspective. They just saw Zoro get crushed by a pillar, and now Sanji is violently ejected from the fight. To them, it must look like everyone is defeated.
And that's exactly what Arlong thinks. He's gloating, his stupid grin wider than ever. He tells Kuroobi to just throw Zoro's body into the pool with Luffy. It's cleanup time for them. He's completely written them off. He's already celebrating.
He then calls out to Hachi, asking when he's going to come out from under the rubble, almost like he's annoyed his officer is taking so long to get up from his own attack.
And Hachi bursts out, but he is not happy. He's screaming. He's furious that he was used as a fishman shield. He declares he's the number 2 swordsman on Fishman Island and unleashes his ultimate technique, the 6 sword style, Rokutoryu.
6 arms, 6 swords. It's the logical conclusion for an octopus swordsman. He's holding them all, spinning them around like a whirlwind of blades. It's supposed to be this terrifying reveal. The music would swell here in the anime. This is his final form.
But Kuroobi just mocks him. He completely deflates the moment. He's like, Hachi, the other guy's already unconscious. You're a little late, bud. The fight's over. The comedic timing is just perfect. It's so humiliating for Hatchan.
It's the ultimate anticlimax. Oda builds up this visually impressive and seemingly deadly technique, and then uses another character to point out how utterly pointless it is in this situation. And then the rubble starts to move.
This is the moment. This is why the chapter is called Zombie. Zoro gets up. He pushes himself to his feet, blood everywhere, rubble falling off his shoulders, and just looks at Hachi's 6 swords. The panel is just iconic. He looks less like a man and more like a demon clawing its way out of the grave.
And he says they're nothing special.
Super! That is one of the coldest lines in the entire series. The enemy reveals his secret, ultimate, six-bladed technique, and Zoro, a man who should be medically and physically dead, just dismisses it like it's a party trick. The sheer, unadulterated audacity.
He says he can't die here. He made a promise, the promise to Mihawk, to never lose again.
That's what's animating him. It's not muscle, it's not stamina, it's not adrenaline. It is pure, uncut ambition. His dream is literally holding his body together. We're seeing the first real example of what willpower, true conviction can do in this world. It can bend the rules of biology.
A promise in this world, especially one made by great warriors, seems to carry a real, tangible weight. It's like a contract with fate. By making that vow to the world's greatest swordsman, Zoro has tethered his life force to his ambition. As long as the dream is alive, so is he.
He turns to Johnny and Yosaku and tells them to lend him their swords. He's going to use all three. He's going to honor his three-sword style, even if two of the swords aren't his. Even half dead, he refuses to compromise his identity as a fighter.
And they don't even hesitate. They just toss them over. There's no, "Are you sure, Aniki? You look terrible." They just throw the swords. They know. They're seeing a monster in action, a force of nature, and they're just going to help it fight. They understand that arguing would be more disrespectful than letting him die on his own terms.
And as this is happening, as Zoro is having his epic "I'm not dead yet" moment, we see Sanji. He's getting up too.
Of course he is. The rivalry is so strong that even on the brink of death, they're synchronized. Zoro's defiance inspires his own.
He can't let that stupid mosshead have the only badass get-up moment. He straightens his tie, dusts off his suit jacket. The man was just blasted through a concrete wall, and his first instinct is to fix his clothes. The absolute style of this guy.
And says Zeph's kicks were 10 times stronger than that punch.
Bro, come on. How cool can you be? Kuroobi hits him with a level 40 Fishman Karate secret technique, a punch that could shatter stone, and Sanji just compares it to a casual Tuesday training session with his mentor. The disrespect is legendary. He's not just saying you didn't hurt me, he's saying your ultimate attack is weaker than my dad's warm-up.
It's the same principle as Zoro, just viewed through a different lens. His strength isn't just his own. It's forged by his past, by the person he respects most in the world. Zoro is driven by his future promise to Mihawk, and Sanji is driven by his past promise to Zeph and the love and hardship that came with it.
The monster trio is just built different. It's becoming so clear. Their power comes from their conviction, from their dreams and their relationships. It's not about levels or biological advantages. It's about who you're fighting for and the promises you've made.
The chapter ends with 2 final cuts. Genzo and Nojiko have successfully snuck in and are diving down to Luffy.
The cavalry has arrived. Our boy might get to breathe again soon. They aren't warriors, but they are brave. And right now, that's exactly what Luffy needs.
And Usopp is still running away from Chu.
Oh, Usopp. One day, buddy. One day. But for now, just keep running. Honestly, though, he's doing his job. He's keeping one of Arlong's officers occupied and away from the main fight. It might look cowardly, but it's tactically sound. That's my defense, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay, but think about what this means for Arlong. He's watching all of this from his throne. He just saw 2 of his top officers get, for all intents and purposes, completely defeated. And the guys who beat them, the humans he sees as worthless bugs, just stood back up and basically said, "Is that all you've got?"
His whole philosophy is built on the idea of fishman superiority, that humans are weak, pathetic insects who can be crushed underfoot. And he's watching 2 insects refuse to die through sheer force of will. This has to be shaking him to his core. He doesn't have a category for this. His whole system of belief is crumbling.
It's the same principle as Zoro, just viewed through a different lens. His strength isn't just his own. It's forged by his past, by the person he respects most in the world. Zoro is driven by his future promise to Mihawk, and Sanji is driven by his past promise to Zeph and the love and hardship that came with it.
The monster trio is just built different. It's becoming so clear. Their power comes from their conviction, from their dreams and their relationships. It's not about levels or biological advantages. It's about who you're fighting for and the promises you've made.
The chapter ends with two final cuts. Genzo and Nojiko have successfully snuck in and are diving down to Luffy.
The cavalry has arrived. Our boy might get to breathe again soon. They aren't warriors, but they are brave. And right now, that's exactly what Luffy needs.
And Usopp is still running away from Chu.
Oh, Usopp. One day, buddy. One day. But for now, just keep running. Honestly, though, he's doing his job. He's keeping one of Arlong's officers occupied and away from the main fight. It might look cowardly, but it's tactically sound. That's my defense, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay, but think about what this means for Arlong. He's watching all of this from his throne. He just saw two of his top officers get, for all intents and purposes, completely defeated. And the guys who beat them, the humans he sees as worthless bugs, just stood back up and basically said, "Is that all you've got?"
His whole philosophy is built on the idea of fishman superiority, that humans are weak, pathetic insects who can be crushed underfoot. And he's watching two insects refuse to die through sheer force of will. This has to be shaking him to his core. He doesn't have a category for this. His whole system of belief is crumbling.
It's the same principle as Zoro, just viewed through a different lens. His strength isn't just his own. It's forged by his past, by the person he respects most in the world. Zoro is driven by his future promise to Mihawk, and Sanji is driven by his past promise to Zeph and the love and hardship that came with it.
The monster trio is just built different. It's becoming so clear. Their power comes from their conviction, from their dreams and their relationships. It's not about levels or biological advantages. It's about who you're fighting for and the promises you've made.
The chapter ends with two final cuts. Genzo and Nojiko have successfully snuck in and are diving down to Luffy.
The cavalry has arrived. Our boy might get to breathe again soon. They aren't warriors, but they are brave. And right now, that's exactly what Luffy needs.
And Usopp is still running away from Chu.
Oh, Usopp. One day, buddy. One day. But for now, just keep running. Honestly, though, he's doing his job. He's keeping one of Arlong's officers occupied and away from the main fight. It might look cowardly, but it's tactically sound. That's my defense, and I'm sticking to it.
Ooh, I like that. A partial success that creates a new problem. For my first one, I'm calling it Zoro versus Hatchan ends next chapter. It has to. Zoro is running on fumes made of pure spite. We're going to see Zoro's 3-sword style, with 2 borrowed swords, against the 6-sword style, and Zoro is going to demonstrate with extreme prejudice the difference between having more swords and being a better swordsman. It'll be a short, brutal, definitive victory.
My second prediction concerns Sanji's fight. Kuroobi is a practitioner of fishman karate. Sanji just took one of his strongest hits and acknowledged its power, even if he downplayed it. I think Sanji is going to realize he can't fight him head-on with pure power in the water, which is Kuroobi's domain. He's going to have to use his speed, his acrobatics, and his wits. We'll see him fight smarter, not harder, perhaps targeting a weak point on fishmen we haven't seen before, like the gills.
That makes sense. He's the strategist of the trio. Okay, for my final prediction, Usopp's fight with Chu. He's been running this whole time. I think he's not just running away. He's leading Chu into a trap. This whole cowardly retreat has been a strategic relocation. We're going to see him turn around and unleash some kind of crazy Usopp invention, like a spicy star or something, that uses Chu's water-spitting ability against him, maybe by making him swallow it and choke. The coward becomes the tactician.
That would be a fantastic payoff for his arc here. One last thing before we go. Oda's author comment for this chapter was interesting. He said, "Final Fantasy is getting in the way of my work. We can't have that. Thus, I developed a breakthrough plan to deal with the issue. I'm going to do my very best to beat the entire game."
That is the most relatable thing I have ever heard from a manga creator. That's a man who knows his priorities. Beat the game, then draw the masterpiece. The fact that he's stressed about whatever Final Fantasy game had just come out while delivering chapters of this quality is just mind-blowing. Respect. Absolute respect.